video day, guys. So for today's video we have a really fun one because I received a palette that I had been stalking. I actually really wanted this really bad. It is the brand new collaboration of Anastasia Beverly Hills and Carli Bybel. Now when I saw this being released, actually when Dillard spilled the beans on this palette and kind of released it early on their website showing what it was going to look like, I was so intrigued by it. I actually love the color story. I love the outer carton. I was kind of like, okay, I really need this. So Carli Bybel is one of like the OG YouTubers here on YouTube, and I was really excited to pick up this collab. It looked beautiful. I loved everything about it, and I was excited to get it. So in this video, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be talking to you guys about everything. I'm gonna be comparing this palette to the Riviera palette. I'm also gonna be showing you guys how I created this eye look. We'll be playing with a bunch of different shades. I'll be giving you guys my first impression thoughts on the palette, and we're gonna be going over every single detail that I can. In case you guys are somebody who is looking at maybe purchasing this, you guys can have a full 411 on this palette. Before we get into everything Anastasia Beverly Hills by Carli Bybel, my name is Christina, Brooke, and this is my Glam Ranch. If you guys are new to this channel, I would love it if you would take 1 second to hit that subscribe button so you can be part of the Glam Ranch family, and yeah, you'll see me again, which would be fun. And let's go ahead and let's get into everything about this palette. So I really honestly am going to tell you guys right now that I love the packaging of this product. I think it's just so beautiful. The outside actually looks like it has like kind of like a sequin, and you see that within the carton, and you also see it within the palette. It actually almost looks like it has this 3D effect, which they did with this fake sequin look. I'm going to tell you guys that this is the most beautiful thing. Like, it looks so much prettier in person, I think, than it does in any photograph that you can see of it. When you open it up, you do reveal all the shades, and the shades are absolutely stunning. You also do get the Anastasia brush. It comes in all of her palettes. So the packaging, I love it. I think it's such a cute packaging, and I think it is super great. So this palette is going to retail you $45 US. Okay, so let's get into some of the specifics that Anastasia says about the palette. So it's a limited edition palette, and it's in collaboration with Carli Bybel. It has 14 different shades that Carli Bybel says she cannot live without. And inside of this palette, you are getting 6 metallic shades. You're getting 6 matte shades, 1 shimmer, and 1 dual chrome. Now, I will tell you guys also within the matte shades, there is 1 shade that is a pigment shade, and that color is Cindy. And they do say on the website, are not intended to be used around the immediate eye area. I know that that's a USA restriction and not really a whole world restriction, but FYI, in case you guys are sensitive in any ways, there is 1 color inside of this palette that is a pressed pigment. So now I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys the swatches. I did do the swatches under studio lights for you guys, but then I also wanted to show you guys how beautiful these swatches look under daytime. So I went ahead and did a quick little film for you guys under the daylight so you guys can really see how beautifully reflective and beautiful these glitters are. There's actually a few colors in here that have more glitters than the rest of them, and it's actually My Angel, Aurora, and Q&A. These 3, I feel like they're a lot more glittery than the rest of them, and you really can see that huge shine that comes out during these like daytime swatches. And I've shared with you guys what Anastasia has said about the palette. Now let's go ahead and let's get right into me trying it out for the very first time. We are zoomed in. I cannot, like, literally guys, this, I am more than excited to put these colors on my eyes. There's just too many colors here that I think are so beautiful. This palette is like screaming for attention from me. I tend to never use the Anastasia brushes. They're just not my favorite, but we're gonna go ahead and play with this palette. What do I wanna do? There's just way too much in this palette. I really think that this is a beautiful palette, and I'm not gonna say that enough times because this is pretty. This is so pretty. We're gonna go purple. Why not? So I'm gonna start off with the color Cindy, and just because I love these type of coral shades, they're just so beautiful. So that's what we're gonna start off with. I love these type of orangey shades. Like, honestly, they're like everything to me. So this has me very excited, and I like this color. I'm gonna use my Marc Jacobs mirror. I honestly like those Anastasia mirrors. Too rectangular for me. I like huge mirrors, so I need to use this one. So this is, I really like this shade. It's blending really nice right now. Bring this really high up into the crease and close to the eyebrow, just to make my eyes look bigger, not my eyebrows. That's a really pretty color. It actually even has like more of a pinky hue, coral pinky hue than usual. Usually I'm used to seeing these go a little bit more orange. This goes a little bit more pink. This is really pretty though. Wow, this is very pigmented color. I have to admit, this is extremely pigmented, and I'm really, really liking it so far. That's such a pretty color. Okay, I really I really like this color. But then again, would you not expect for me to like a peachy kind of coral tone color? I mean, come on, I'm like obsessed. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful color. I'm really loving that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use one of these darker tones. I think I'm gonna use Boy? I think it's Boy. I'm gonna use that color in the outer edge just to kind of give it a little bit of a darker hue in order to define my eyes. A kind of brownish tone at the end of the palette. Let's see how dark this can get, and let's see if it can add some depth to the eyes, which is what I'm hoping for, because this palette has primarily really light shades. Ooh, that's dark. Okay, I like that. Okay, good. Yay, I'm happy. I'm really happy that that gives me a good pigment. Okay, that makes me happy. Yay! Because this palette has like such pretty like light colors, I was really hoping that this brown was going to give me a little bit more than just being like a subtle brown, and that's giving me enough, and I am happy. That's beautiful. And I like the way that this is like a complementary brown to that orange. They work really good together, and when you blend them, they actually make a really pretty color. Okay, so I really honestly am just dying to use the color of my angels. Like, there's a few colors here that I think would look really cool, and I kind of want to like exaggerate here just because I know that this is like an eye look to try out a few different colors for you guys. So instead of just doing like one single shadow, I think I'm gonna add a few just to kind of like play. So I think I'm gonna grab Aura, and I'm gonna put that all over the empty part, and then I'm gonna just grab a little bit of My Angels and put it in the center, because I honestly am dying to use that color. And oh my gosh, this is pretty. Look at that. Oh my god, that's pretty. So this has a lot of glitter in it, but actually it's really fine, and they're really pretty glitters. I love that. So I am obsessing. I tried, so I kind of like got into this, and then I just kind of like kept on playing and adding more and more and more, and I just got silent and just got into a zone, and I'm obsessing over all of the colors that I use. Like, I really am very, very, very happy. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some liner. I'm gonna put on some mascara. Then we're gonna talk about this, but I'm really excited. Alright guys, so this is the final look, and I have to tell you guys, I am in love with the look. I'm going to tell you guys, looking at this palette right when it arrived on my doorstep, I knew that this was going to be a beautiful palette. I just can tell, like, a lot of these colors, they just jive really good together, which is so important with palettes. You guys will see pretty soon there was a palette that I bought that the colors were pretty, but they just don't mix good together. It's really important that the colors and palettes work well together. They did an amazing job. I love the colors in here. All the colors that I used, fantastic. So I did use Bali, I used Cindy, I used My Angels, Boy, Aurora. I used a few colors in here, and all of them are fantastic. I'm dying to use Bybel. I just didn't use it in this look, but Bybel with any of these colors here is gonna look amazing. Like, I can already tell. And this color, Steve, looked like it could be pretty interesting too. Stev, I think it's Stev. They said that there was one pigment in here. So I was looking at all the different colors in here, and it looks like the only one that's a pressed pigment is Cindy. I actually thought it was Stev, but it's actually Cindy, and I actually used Cindy like a crazy person today. But Cindy is the pressed pigment in this palette, just in case you guys are wondering. This is the only one that is a pigment. Everything else is regular eyeshadows. And I have to admit that I thought that everything worked really well. Actually, Cindy blended really well for being a pressed pigment. I think it blended awesome. Sometimes I have an issue with pigments and the way that they blend, but this one did a great job. Boy, this color is absolutely stunning. Great inner corner highlight. I also think that if you have a small highlight brush, you could probably use this as a highlight for your face, because this is like the perfect like pinky kind of undertoned metallic-y shade. For the most part, every single one of the colors that I used, I really honestly loved, and I did swatch every single one of these, and they're very promising, all the ones that I swatched. One thing I'm going to tell you, huge thing that I think is very important, I love this color story. This is very different. This is not something that we're seeing back to back to back. I feel like a lot of palettes lately, they just look so uninspired. Like, it's almost like I just feel like I'm seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And this palette was so different. It really called my attention and made me really happy actually when I saw it. I was like, wow, Anastasia has something different, and I really was happy. The only palette that I will tell you guys that had maybe a little bit of similarities to it, but at the same time I'm gonna have to tell you guys they're very different, is the Riviera palette. The Riviera palette and this palette, there was a few tones that were semi-similar, but honestly I'm gonna tell you guys like straight off the bat, if you have the Riviera palette, you do not have this palette like at all. You may have like one or two colors that are semi-similar, but I don't even think for the most part they're very similar. So let's go ahead and let's get into that comparison really quickly. So the first color inside of this palette that I kind of wanted to see if it was in the Riviera is the color Jode. And that color actually was able to compare to Seaside in the Riviera palette. Now, and I will tell you that the shift in this palette right here, the Carli Bybel one, goes a little bit darker, like it has a darker hue to it. So they're not exactly the same. They're kind of similar, but not the same. Then the next color was Q&A. Now Q&A, I kind of looked a little bit similar to me to the Riviera palette as well. So I compared it to the color Mediterranean inside of the Riviera palette, and this color goes darker as well. It also has a lot more glitter in it. So this one has more of like a glittery finish. So they're kind of not that similar either, even though in the swatch they may look semi-similar, but they're really not. So then I just wanted to show you guys that the browns in the two palettes are very different. So Bowie inside of the Bybel palette is a lot more of like a grayish brown, whereas the one in the Riviera goes more to like a red brown. So the browns in here are super different. Also, I wanted to show you guys that the golds in the two palettes are different as well. A Mod in this palette and Yacht in the Riviera palette, and the two are not very similar at all. If you guys can see, this one has more of that champagne-y, very champagne-y bright look, whereas the one in the Riviera goes a lot more gold. Now, if we keep on going, the color Cindy is probably the only real duplicate, because if you look at the color Coastline inside of the Riviera palette, these two are very, very similar. I feel like the color Cindy has more of like a peachy kind of undertone, whereas the Riviera one has a little bit more of like an orangey undertone. There's a slight difference between the two, but on the eyes they're probably going to look exactly the same. So that's probably the most similar color besides Jode and Seaside. Then finally, the last one, just to show you guys, the very special color in here, My Angels, is actually very, very different to the special color inside of the Riviera, which is called Inheritance, which is that real bright yellowish gold. This one goes a lot more gold, whereas the Riviera one goes a lot more yellow. So if you guys can see, the two palettes, in my opinion, like there's some colors that are similar, but they're definitely different palettes. So I definitely would tell you guys, if you own the Riviera and maybe you were thinking that, oh, there's too many colors that are similar, they're really not. They're not at all. So I personally don't think that they're dupeable. I did look a little bit into the Norvina palette. There is some purples in there. I don't think that there's going to be enough to say that these two are similar either. This palette is actually very unique and very beautiful. I also have to say congratulations to Carli Bybel. This was a very beautiful collaboration. I think it was very smart. I think it was very different. I haven't seen like this type of palette coming out, and I feel like sometimes I'm just used to seeing very similar colors, and I'm like, okay, I've seen that. I feel like this was different. I love the color combinations. I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this, and I'm actually really happy with this purchase. There's a lot of really cool tones in here. I love that there's a deeper brown in here to really smoke out outer edges. I also love the color Stev. I think this is gonna be a really fun color also to help do like a smoky reddish eye. Mixing with a lot of these tones here, I think that there was a really nice, well thought out, put together palette, and I'm actually really happy with my purchase. So I definitely think if you guys are looking at this Anastasia palette, I definitely think it is worth a grab. This is beautiful. I love everything about it. I'm gonna give this one a huge yes. I think this is great. So I'm definitely gonna keep on trying this. This is my first impression, but I usually can tell with eyeshadow palettes pretty quickly if I'm gonna love them or not. I think I'm really gonna love this. So anyways, guys, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget, give me those thumbs up, leave me comments below, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.